So I suppose the starting point was the feelings of shock and horror at what is going on in Ukraine, and an awareness that there was a need to be able to provide sanctuary and refuge to people who were able to and who wanted to leave Ukraine, and that at the moment that is something that's largely happening in the countries immediately bordering Ukraine, but that if the situation continues for any length of time or gets worse, then the numbers of people needing to be supported outside their home country is likely to increase substantially, and probably countries like Poland, Romania, Moldova are going to need some help in offering that support. And it was really wanting to try initially and put some pressure on the UK government to expand the rather limited visa scheme that they were initially offering for Ukrainians who had close family here to be permitted entry to the UK. And I think there was a sense that we as a country should be doing more than that. So the starting point was wanting to pledge support, that there were people willing to offer more than that. And that quite quickly seemed to get picked up nationally, and the government responded quite quickly to that. And so now we're waiting really to see the detail of the wider scheme to offer hospitality and support to Ukrainians in this country, and work out what we might be able to offer locally in that regard.
What kind of possibilities might Bruton be able to consider? What sort of things are you asking questions about? What are you looking into?
So we think that Bruton as a community, and including some of the villages surrounding Bruton as well in that, is quite well placed to offer support and sanctuary to people from Ukraine who might want to come to the UK. It's a generous community. It's a community where there is some spare accommodation in people's houses. And also, I think we're hopeful that we would be able to offer the sort of wider support that we expect will be crucial for people coming to settle here, either permanently or for a short time. So we've got 4 schools in Bruton, and they've all got facilities that they're looking at ways of being able to share. And we've got people here with personal experience of working with traumatized refugees from previous conflicts. We've got people with relevant professional skills in counselling and in education and things like that. So we're hopeful that we'd be able to structure something that offers much more than the basic necessities of safe accommodation, food and clothing, but actually addresses some of the wider needs for access to services for mental and physical health, and for social integration and social well-being. So we would hope to be able to put together a programme of social activities for people of whatever age and whatever their skills and talents are. We might look to use the arts quite widely to see whether that can be a source of help and support and flourishing for people who come, perhaps enable them to express themselves through art. Possibly, these are just ideas at the moment, but whether there are some possibilities around therapy with animals for those who might find being in the company of animals helpful in the state that they're in. But I think it's really just a sense that this is a community that has quite a lot to offer in a number of ways, going beyond the bare necessities, that we'd like to explore and see what we can pull together.
Personally, I can't imagine having to flee my country, go to a place where I have no connection, possibly don't even speak the language. There is a lot of thought. This isn't something that should be offered lightly, is it? This is, you know, as you refer to, these are potentially very traumatized people. There's a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of thinking communities need to do before they are able to open the door up, isn't there?
Absolutely right. And we're very conscious of that. And what we're looking to do is to see if we can work under the auspices, really, of a national organisation that has experience in doing this. Personally, I've got no experience of working with traumatised refugees. And as you say, it's a massive thing to undertake. It's a very serious thing and potentially a very demanding thing. And we need to be careful that people who are very well-meaning and doing this out of love and generosity don't take on something that's actually too difficult and too complex. So we're looking to work with people who know what they're doing, who are experienced and have can offer us the training and the support and the advice and the guidance that we would need if this is to happen. And so we've been directed to an organisation called the Sanctuary Foundation, run by Krish Kandia, who themselves are working in partnership with an organisation called Reset, who are the ones with the hands-on experience of working with refugees from war zones. So I'm still waiting to hear back from them with details of what they might offer, but we're very conscious that we need not to try and do this alone without the appropriate training and advice on governance structures and support networks, etc. So we're massively aware that although there are people in this community with personal experience, most of those who've responded to the request for help are well-meaning people, motivated, as I say, by love and generosity, but we need some serious guidance and support from people who've been through this before, to keep us straight and make sure that we don't make mistakes by rushing in and not quite perhaps understanding the complexity of what's involved. So we're determined to work with others who can guide us.
Do you hope as time progresses that communities such as Bruton, should it decide it is able to offer to be able to do something, will be able to work with others? Do you feel this could be some form of a turning point whereby, I hope this doesn't happen again, but in future we can look back to this and go, well, actually, we learned the lessons here. This is how we got it right. Because it's quite surprising that in 2022 we don't have that blueprint at the moment. Or do you feel that we do have that blueprint?
Yeah, it's a very fair question. And I'm still trying to work that one out locally in terms of what experience there is that we might draw on from past conflicts, whether that's in the situation that developed with the end of the end of Yugoslavia and the fracturing there and the various wars that happened there. There are people locally who've been involved in that. But you're right, I'm not sure there's much structure for sharing that knowledge and experience, and it would definitely be a good thing to try and capture so that the knowledge that's been gained by one community can be rolled out and shared. And I think in a way that's part of the motivation for driving us towards groups like Reset, who do have that prior knowledge, perhaps not from rural Somerset, perhaps from other parts of the country, but nevertheless there will be lessons learned that can be applied here through tapping into them. So we're very conscious of that. And I should say also that we're wanting to work with our local, or we're going to work with our local town council, and through that to make sure that we stay plugged into the local government systems that are there, as well as a sort of conduit with the apparatus of the state and the state support that's available. So we need to look both to the voluntary sector and to the local government sector, I think, and try and make sure that all ties up.